What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. A ton of you guys have been waiting for this. Ghosts from the past pre-sales are starting to go up, starting with YGO Daily, already undercutting TCG Player, and one thing I'm noticing very fast is Dragoonity Remus is $21 over here. You can use code WhatsGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel on the singles over on YGO Daily, and it's disappearing in the early listings from Ghosts from the Past on TCG Player. Now, do keep in mind, this is going for double MSRP on the secondary market in terms of the product, so it is nice to see 3 singles only above the MSRP price on pre-sales, and we should see a lot of competition from people ripping open the product, searching for ghosts. But I think a lot of people are going to hoard it as well. They're going to go, okay, the first edition is going to go up, I think I'm going to keep it sealed, I'm going to sell it later. Even if there's a re-wave, the first edition ghost chase is going to help this first edition product. You're going to see a lot of different investment theories and practices on the set, and it's crazy. Also, I don't think there's ghost rares up on the site because YGO Daily probably wants to open this, guarantee the singles, not overextend, so I am hoping we'll see ghost rares up on the site later. Typically they also do starlights and other things, but ghost rares are probably super wonky in terms of the pull. Speaking of ghost, Dark Magician has sold at the $500 mark. That's why a market price is developed in this range, and is lowest listed $700, also a market price of $500 on the Blue Eyes alternative, but many are around this price. I remember seeing in Facebook groups people going, you're gonna end up paying $1,000 on that Blue Eyes. I think easily in order. It's Dark Magician, Blue Eyes alternative, and then you have the toss-up, probably third place Firewall with the hype off the ban list, then maybe Crystal Wing ahead of the Blackluster Soldier because of the Wind Duelist pack and hype, but there's still Blackluster Soldier by name in the Link Monster. The last 3, they could go any which way, but I do think Dark Magician will be atop the set with Blue Eyes alternative second. That's why you do see people cashing in early, seeing how it's going. And then the singles here, a little bit above daily for the most part, especially with that discount giving a further edge. The synchros / new XCs seem to be very desired, which is kind of shocking, but not shocking early. People have been waiting a long time for the Ace Monster and Rival kind of cards to come out, like Shooting Star Dragon TGEX, and then much needed reprints like Emergency Teleport and Fogblade, kind of higher in price here early. I think some reprints, even if they're highly desired, like Hepopop Dragon, well, no, more so the Heretic Spheres of Heavenly Spheres, Fogblade, Eteli, I could see those going down a bit, but they're definitely still desired out of the set. But as a lot of this gets ripped open, I would be waiting on stuff like that. But the higher demand, newer stuff exclusive to the set, like the Dragoonities, I think my advice would be to get them sooner than later. You can try to wait it out as more quantities come out too, but it's just really hard to see the approach, because we've seen on release day people just go bam, buy it out, and it's permanently up in price. It's really hard to approach. Market Man doesn't always have all the answers. Weird. So if you see a price you're happy with, you probably should be getting it while trying to wait out some of the reprint cards. But the newer cards, a lot of them very affordable past what we thought as people chase after ghost rares. And great to see YGO Daily not trying to juice, trying to go undercut the market, despite they could have just kept everything sealed and thrown it up on the market and gotten that money for it. And I think they still have $1,000 cases on the site as well, if I'm not mistaken, that you can check out with and support the channel with. That being said, Ghosts from the Past is crazy. Other crazy things are happening on the market, and we'll get to ratios hopefully as well. I haven't heard ratios back yet. I'm hoping to hear from that, especially by street date, so that we can decipher more how prices should be going versus estimated value pull in the hype and Ghosts from the Past. Starlight rares have been getting rolling buyouts, and Apollosa most lately had a shock value, $1,200 price. One seller has gone down to $1,000, the $1,200 one being gone, and that is a newer seller, and then $1,350 is the lowest. So a lot of people deciding to cash out their Starlights right now, while a lot of people are buying in. What should you do with your Starlights? It really comes down to how you feel about them, but it's just crazy to watch certain Starlight rares, especially some of the first, end up in the wonky ratio that have had. Let's actually look up Starlight rares in general instead of just Rira. We've seen IP Mask Reina recently shooting up, Lightning Storm playable, viable going up, and it's kind of crazy to actually see Chamber Dragon Maid surpass Pot of Prosperity with all the Dragon Link shenanigans. Do keep in mind, Pot of Prosperity not having a reprint probably for a decent amount of time, being in Blazing Vortex for any version of its cards, but so many of these other cards will have reprints of their lower rarity versions in the Megatons, and as we've seen, that actually doesn't tend to affect their price at all for the Starlight rare versions. They tend to just have their own kind of market that dips and spikes and dips and spikes, and right now it's definitely on a heater. What do you guys think of Apollosa hitting back to 1,000? No extravagance playing 3, it's actually just kind of reached that pinnacle on its own again. With Ghosts from the Past, other Ghost rares are spiking. Gores and Honest are the funniest to me because these are the hand traps when you have them in hand, they shine on your face, and it tells your opponent that you freaking have them. So it's actually kind of worse to have Ghost rares of these. But Ghost Gores gold rare is around the $30 plus mark at this point. Near mint is super subjective to sellers on TCG Player with Ghost rares, so that's why people love buying Ghost rares in person to see how clean it is or what's wrong with it, especially if sellers on TCG Player use pictures. That does help their listings. But yeah, Honest is up as well, and Honest has Dark Honest coming forward and maybe future hype there just from that. But that's kind of one of those things, oh, this is out, might as well go get this. Doesn't really correlate yet. It tends to happen like that. The Unlimited is around $150, and the first edition is freaking stretching up towards $450. What actual sales for you would be, I don't know. This is a recent buyout, so we'll wait and see the fallout on that. Speaking of Blazing Vortex, just wanted to say, with it not being in the 2021 Megatons as a set, some of the cards are more interesting. I hear a lot of people mention Zephyr, Miradora. I don't like the card, but I could see it ending up having a format. So when you read a card that reads pretty nice to you, even if it's not in the current format, people are like, one day, I'll show you. It's gonna be good, John. Really? It could, and you have a longer amount of time to play with that speculation. Prosperity went up recently. It's falling out a little from the STEMI #2 boom / tax returns. And of course, you have the YCS and Remote Duel Extravaganzas announced, so people are going to want cards to play with. Blazing Vortex is your safer cards, not necessarily your better cards with how Blazing Dumpster Fire turned out. My eternal rival on Market Watch, Chamber Dragon Maid shooting back up in price as Dragon Link has done very well for itself with the LCS and Remote Duels. I do want to remind you, Eternity Code is up for reprints within the Megatons, but the Starlight rare has shot to new highs as well. Also, speaking of Dragon Link, I just wanted to point out in the Cyber Style reveals, Attachment Cyber seems like huge Dragon Link support, at least to me, in terms of an extender / enabler. You can target any dragon or machine cyber monster you control, equip this card from hand or field to the target. The monster gains 600 attack, but the great effect is, if this card is equipped to a monster is sent to the graveyard, you can target one other dragon or machine cyber monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That's completely generic towards dragons as well. Just let that sink in for a little bit. Speaking of Dragon Link and Dragoonities being pieced out, rolling buyouts are going even crazier for Dragoonities as we're actually here. I'm hoping we see OTS pack reprints. I'm really hoping in the next couple weeks we get a Battles of Legend announcement after this flies off and sells off shelves for Ghosts from the Past. But right now, there's not a lot of light at the end of the tunnel if you weren't prepared for Dragoonities and haven't got your cards. Tons of cards are just up and sickly up so in prices or running out of quantities. So for the cheaper stuff, you might want to get it sooner than later because Konami tends to reprint the more expensive things. Romulus, speaking of cheap, is also played in Dragon Link and is so freaking accessible right now. I do highly suggest you grab this card not only as a penny stonk, but as a card to have for multiple freaking decks, especially if interested in Dragon Link or Dragoonity specifically. Legendary Duelist Season 2. Sorry for all the pauses. My allergies are terrible today. Like, Texas is crazy for allergy season, so if I seem a little distracted or you see me being a little crazy, dude, the allergies are so bad. But up towards MSRP in price and creeping up for the sealed displays as well. Just take note, that usually means singles will start to slowly trickle up as they already have for a lot of them, and attention will probably dive back into this set during the next month when people have finished with Ghosts from the Past hype. They're looking around. I do think attention will especially turn towards stuff like the Garden Rose Maiden within this set. So this seal doing well for itself, and it's hard to fail with Kaiba on the cover of as a set. I told you guys that you're looking pretty good if you got into this sealed, it seems. Number 100, I keep doing speaking of, and I'm trying to stop myself with that. Speaking of, by the way, number 100 Numeron Dragon from Dragons of Legend. It wasn't opened a lot, Dragons of Legend, the complete series, and number 100 within number collection / also has a decent effect. Is far up in price. If you know why, let me know if it's not just for the number collecting, because the effect is also good if it's part of some crazy FTK or people are just using it here or there, because all versions up in price, which are nearing the secret rare original, which I might be thinking of getting over these versions since the prices are close. Also, Numeron Network is why I even looked this up. It's still a pretty decent engine that's been down in price ever since S0's ban. I do suggest having this engine and these number cards, as they're the only printings of these number cards. Still a really cool engine and very, very budget. OTK within a single card. It's not freaking bad. Drytron Nova's way down in price despite the Diviner of Heralds being announced and the Drytron XEs. It seems like people aren't paying much attention over to Genesis Impact. The prices of the boxes are also still very low, so I might consider getting the Drytron engine right now if you're interested at all. I could see that spiking closer to the release of those cards, but do pay attention to this set. Also, Artemis has done nothing but slowly go up. If you got around $5 to $6 when I suggested, congratulations. And the Live Twin engine just keeps getting freaking support. Firewall from Coda the Duel seems largely ignored. First edition copies around $10. I remember it got bought out to the point of 18 on that ban list hype, but we're about to reach that date. We have no easy access version or eroded version of Firewall, so I'd highly consider getting the first edition secret if you're in the market for it. I think it will age well over time on its own, but eventually we will want an errata version to play with. Konami, hello. It's just the nicest version, and it's not much at $10 to end up getting. So if you are getting it, use that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. And let me know what kind of cyber stack you're in for if you are getting the errated Firewall. Brilliant Fusion for banned collections is up in price. Y'all are after the wrong fusion. Instant Fusion pairs with a new Instant Fusion, but this banned Ultimate Rare has gone up. I thought about getting a place at around the $30 mark just for funsies. Seems like somebody really likes how it looks and went in super deep. I don't know that that's ban list really investing, because I don't know if this card will ever come off the ban list, but it definitely is somebody's deep pockets going in on that one. Number 90, Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord with multiple other buyouts. I guess you have Galaxy, Photon, crazy. Yeah, let's get it finally. 2021's our year. Galaxies are a great deck, and I really do like this card, even generically for the 2 level 8 monsters, so I can see why people are after it with only its one printing. Just be aware it's been bought out multiple times, and it continues to now slowly go up instead of rapidly, and the only monster with the name Supreme in it, I could be lying. Let's actually see if there is another in Yu-Gi-Oh card with Supreme in the name. Of course there is. Why wouldn't there be? But Supreme Arcanite Magician, hitting a little of that Supreme hype. The Ultra Rares have been bought out to the prices of the Ultimate Rares, and I find this absolutely ridiculous. But hey, Star Strike Blast, the set that keeps on giving, right? So if you have this card, you might want to be selling yours. I don't particularly see this suddenly doing anything. This it takes a spellcaster type synchro monster, a spellcaster type monster. This monster can only be special summoned by fusion summon from the extra deck. When it's fusion summoned, you place 2 counters, gains 1,000 attack for each. Once per turn, you can remove a counter from your side of the field and select a card on the field, destroy it, draw a card. Good effect. You need a spellcaster synchro, and I guess maybe a super poly target, or you're fusing. Let me know if there's actually something and a reason for this to be so hypey, so that the Ultra is now actually above the Ultimate Rare. I think somebody missed and bought out the wrong version. I'm not too sure, but Supreme Hype is more so the joke I wanted to make with this, and it landed poorly. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these conversations. And what do you think of Ghost from the Past early pricing? I can't wait to figure out ratios and break down how the Ghost should be, but then add that X Hype Beast value and see how it actually turns out. This has been super interesting to me for a long time, even if I'm disappointed with the content, and I do think sealed investing is kind of the way to go with it. You have a lot of different approaches had towards it, but I really like that Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily's coming out here, undercutting the market, and doing a good job with it.